Hello everybody, welcome back to Simulated Heaven. I just wanted to do a little video or a reasonably quick video, hopefully, just to talk about Forza Horizon 2. Don't worry, this is not going to be a channel that's going to be turning into an Xbox One channel, but I thought after doing the unboxing of the Xbox One, I would maybe talk about Forza Horizon 2, because it is a driving game, and I had said while unboxing the Xbox One that this was the main reason why I bought it. And I think I've played the game already for at least 20 hours, if not more. So you can imagine that my first impressions of Forza Horizon 2 is pretty amazing. I mean, I also bought Forza 5, and I've played Forza 5, I don't know, for maybe 5 hours, that's a guess. But, I mean, all of this is a guess, really, because I can't find anywhere on Xbox Live how to track how many hours I've been in a game, which is one thing that is great about Steam. I'm so used to, in Steam, you can very easily see how many hours you've had in a game. So all of this is a guess, but I reckon Forza 5 about maybe 4 or 5 hours, and Forza 5 is really good for a console racing game. But Forza Horizon 2 is on a completely different level. I mean, like I explained in the unboxing video, I played Test Drive Unlimited 2 for hundreds of hours. I think maybe 200 hours. It was a long time. I really enjoyed the cruising around the open world element, so I knew that I would enjoy this style of game, and it really has not let me down at all. It's basically like Test Drive Unlimited 2 on steroids. Like, first of all, the graphics are amazing. The modelling of the vehicles, inside and out, is really good. I would say it's not quite as good, especially the interiors are not quite as good as, say, the best that you would find on the PC, but for a console, it's still pretty amazing. The exteriors, I would say, are certainly up there with the best you'll find on PC, but the interiors, you can see the odd thing looks slightly flat or not quite as nice as it would on a PC. But the graphics, like, I haven't had any real issues with slowdown or stuttering. The world looks really nice. It's really fluid. It's been running really well. So I'm really impressed with the graphics. One of the reasons why I love open world games is, first of all, there's so much stuff that you can do, and there are multiple ways that you can level up. Like, that you don't only have to follow the races, the organised races. I spent a couple of hours in the morning literally driving around the map, breaking these blocks. There are these XP and fast travel blocks that are all over the map, and I spent a few hours basically finding them on the map, driving there and breaking through the XP blocks, and I was actually leveling up equally as fast, if not a little bit faster, by doing that rather than the regular way of just doing races, and if there's a car, like another person's drivertar, that if you actually pull up behind it, you can actually challenge that person for a race against their drivertar, and then that's another way that you can get credits, or that you can get XP and credits. You can also do the online as well. So there's loads of ways that you can basically level up. And, well, I just mentioned about the drivertar system, and I have to say I'm really impressed with it. Basically, the drivertar is like an offline clone of yourself. So all of the while that you are driving around, the game is basically learning all of your habits, the ways that you are driving on certain roads and things like that. And even if there's an area that you have never driven around, the game will basically match up another area that you have that's very similar, and it will make you drive in that way. It's a really amazing system. Like, it works really well, and I really like the fact that you can be offline, but you feel like you're online. In fact, I would say that the offline is actually slightly more fun than the online. I think the only reason, the only way that would change is if you are cruising around with your own online friends. But unfortunately, I can't really do that in this game. So the online, for me, is only with randoms. But I would say that if you only have randoms to play with, then I would say that offline is actually a better way, because the drivertars, that they do mimic and they do drive in a way that the real person does, but in the system cannot physically learn anything which is negative. So if you were to like T-bone a car, or drive the opposite direction on a track, the drivertar is not able to learn that. And also they have a way of limiting the aggressiveness of all of the drivertars. So although the drivertars are slightly aggressive at times, it isn't a wreckfest. I mean, it can occasionally be a bit like that in the first few corners, but not that bad. It's nowhere near as bad as when you play online, and very often there's loads of people crashing everywhere. Like, the drivertars basically scale that back ever so slightly. So yeah, I'm really impressed with the drivertar system. I really like the idea that your own drivertar, when you are offline, will be in races for you on your behalf, and will actually win you credits while you're offline. I think it's amazing. I mean, I would imagine probably there's going to be a lot of other games, a lot of other racing games that will try to copy this system, because it really makes it amazing, because you don't have to be online. You can be offline and you can still experience a really good online style experience. So yeah, I'm really impressed with the drivertar system. I already talked about the graphics. I would say there's a really amazing car lineup as well. I do really like there's loads of cars, and it isn't only the very exotic cars. There's all sorts of cars. There's like a camper van in it. There's an Abarth. There's some old cars that I can remember in my childhood. There's old American cars. There's new American cars. There's loads of cars. The only thing I would say to kind of dampen that is that there's quite a lot of DLC. So I actually bought the day one edition of Forza Horizon 2, but I can't remember what it was called, maybe the Ultimate Edition. So I paid a fair bit more, but that included a lot of the DLC. So basically that's a little bit of a downside, but personally for me, because it would appear that I'm going to be spending a lot of time in this game, I thought it was worth the investments, so that I have a wider range of vehicles that I can drive around. Also, I really like the customization and the social integration in this game. The customization is pretty amazing. I mean, obviously, I'm talking about the cars. The fact that you can actually customize the paint of your car like however you would like, and you can obviously upgrade however you would like. So it's really cool. I know some really well, and then the social integration is awesome because they have a really good system where people can share their paint jobs online, through the game. I mean, and that's really cool. It means that it is very easy for you to find some really cool paint jobs for your car. And if you're the kind of person that likes to create things, you can basically create your own custom paint design and share it online. And I think that the more that people download that, you'll actually get credits, I think, for that, which is again really cool. So yeah, that whole thing, and obviously the social integration, all the leaderboards and the competition in the game with your friends or even with randoms is really good. And very often they have excuse me, they have purposely made it so very often you are racing against the same drivertars. Wow, I'm going to have a little drink of water. Sorry about this, guys. Hopefully that'll help me to stop all the coughing. But yeah, so basically they have on purpose made it so very often you are racing against the same drivatars quite often. So that means that you get to know a few of them, and it really increases the feeling of competition. And then your friends, it will add in your friends. Even if you have a friend that's way above your ability, they still will often include them in races. So yeah, I think that's also really cool. The handling and the physics, now it's pretty much Forza 5 handling and physics. Now I think I have to say that I've only been able to use or play this game using the controller. I have a Thrustmaster T500 RS, which at the moment I can't, it doesn't work out of the box with the Xbox One. In the future, I'm hoping that I can maybe somehow get it working with the Xbox One, but at the moment I'm only playing with the controller. So therefore you can't get quite the same level of feeling of the handling and the physics as you can with a steering wheel. So it's a little bit hard for me to compare with what I can have on the PC. But my feeling is, I believe I have the setting on hard. It's one down from the one that has all of the assists off. It's the one down from that. I believe it's hard. So because I do need a couple of the assists, for example, automatic gears, for example, because when I'm using a controller, it's very hard for me to use manual gears. So yeah, so I have the handling pretty much with all of the assists off, but there are a few assists that I do need. But I do really like the handling and the physics. Now, one of the problems with Test Drive Unlimited 2 is it had a very arcadey handling. It was not very predictable at times. It certainly wasn't realistic. Now, although the handling and the physics in this game are not ultra realistic from what I can feel through the controller, it is realistic enough that you do feel like you are driving the different cars on offer, if you know what I mean. They all have a slightly different characteristic, and it's not easy mode handling. You do have to think about it, and it is relatively realistic. So I'm really happy, because it's quite hard finding any open world racing game that has vaguely realistic handling. So I'm very happy about that. The controller support, I think the Xbox One controller works really well with this game. I've found it okay. I find that I can be fairly competitive even with only a controller, and I really like the haptic feedback that you get through the triggers on the controller. That basically means that the triggers will slightly vibrate under braking and when you're accelerating away, and it just really adds to the feeling. It's a little bit like when you have force feedback on a steering wheel. It has a kind of similar effect. Obviously it isn't as much, but it really does help you feel the immersion of driving around when you have that haptic feedback on the controller. So I think that's really good. Okay, so there are a few things that I find a little bit annoying, but to be honest, it's only like a few very minor things, really. There is a lot of DLC, like I said earlier. That is a little bit of a downer that they have to have so much DLC. But on the other side, to be fair, they do actually give you some free cars. Like the developer will every so often give you free cars and things like that. So it's not too bad, but I feel like a little bit. There's a little bit too much of DLC, I would say. The game kind of holds your hand a little bit more than I would like. It's not too bad, but basically they are telling you where everything is. So all of the XP boards, for example, that I was talking about are marked on the map. So all that you have to do is find them all on the map and go and drive there. Whereas I would prefer it if they were just randomly placed in the map and it didn't actually tell you where they are, and you had to just find them all by yourself. I know there are other people that wouldn't really like that, but I would prefer it that they didn't just hand you all of the information on a plate and say, here is everything, go and find it. They have these things that are called barn finds, which are really good, which mean that every so often it will tell you there's a barn find in your area. Like, so basically it means there's an old car that's in a barn. You have to just find the barn. So there'll be a circle on your map. You need to go there, search in that area, and find a barn in that area, and there'll be a car inside, and then the lady who is the garage lady, I think, will basically help you to restore that car, and then you will have that car in your garage. It is amazing. It's kind of like in Test Drive Unlimited 2, you had to go around finding these little puzzle pieces, but it was a fair bit harder in Test Drive Unlimited 2. I believe all that would happen is when you are near one of the pieces, there'll be a beeping sound, and it would get faster the closer that you get to the puzzle. And I believe you would need maybe 3, 4, I can't remember exactly, but I think you need somewhere between 3 or 5 pieces of a puzzle for you to get a car. Whereas in Forza Horizon 2, it will tell you a defined area where you have to search, and when you find a barn, then it gives you a car straight away. So it's a little bit easier. Like, I would have liked it if there'd been a little bit more searching involved, or if it had been a little bit harder. So yeah, I just feel there's maybe a little bit too much hand holding in the game, but it's not too bad, and it isn't a major downer. It's just a minor thing, I would say. I would say as well, the online, I find that in a way the drivertar system kind of takes away a little bit from the online. I mean, it's like I said earlier, if you have a group of friends that you would like to drive with, then online is really fun, really amazing, because you can actually do a free roam online where you can basically cruise around, and if you would like to enter events all together, then you can. There's another online system where you basically have a series of 4 events that you will go through all together. So the free roam, if I don't have any friends online that I want to actually cruise with, I find that the offline free roam is better and faster than the online one, and of course there are no issues with lag or anything like that. And also the online event where you have 4 events that you do with a group of online players, I find that it's quite slow. You always feel like that you are waiting for the other players and waiting for each event to load up. And when you are used to the offline being very instant and also having all of the drivertars, it makes the online seem quite slow, really, in comparison. And also, I mean, they are trying to get a sense in this game that it doesn't really matter if you win or lose. But I'm a really competitive person, especially when it comes to racing games, and they kind of throw in these weird events into the online. Like there's an event they called King, where one of the players is the king, and they have to basically run away from the other players. If the other players hit him, they will become the king, and the person that is the king for the longest is the winner, essentially. There's another one where they have a infected mode, where basically it's a similar thing, but it starts off with only, I think, a couple of the players are infected, and then everyone else is not infected, and then you have to run away again and try not to get hit by the infected players. When you are hit, then that means that you are then infected, and you have to go and then infect other people. So they kind of throw in these random kind of fun events, but I find them a little bit annoying at times. Again, it isn't a major annoyance, but for example, there was a time where they had 3, like the first 3 events had all been normal races, like road races or like a normal race, and I was actually doing really well. I believe I was 3rd in the room, and it was, well, I was almost not that far off of the person in 1st, and I was, really, I was very happy about that. And then the 4th event, they threw in the infected mode, and of course those kind of modes are a little bit more random. They don't really work as much on skill, maybe a little bit. So then that one I didn't do very, very well in. So then I ended up only finishing like 4th. So that kind of stuff does annoy me a little bit at times. So I think it would be better if they had like a playlist on the online, so that if you were doing those 4 events, you could, if you would like to, you could have a playlist which is only races, or a playlist that is only those fun modes, or a playlist that is a mixture of those. I think that would help a lot. Okay, so this has been a slightly longer video than I had anticipated. I hope I have talked about this game in a lot of depth, so that if you're maybe a person who was on the fence about this game, hopefully I've helped you see a bit more detail about this game. I mean, if you are interested in this kind of free roam open world racing game, then I would highly recommend this game. I mean, these are only like first impressions, it's not really a full-on review, but so far I'm so impressed with this game, and I'm so happy that I was that I actually went ahead and bought an Xbox One mainly for this game. I think it's really worth it because I could see myself seriously spending hundreds of hours in this game. I should really have mentioned this at the beginning of the video. I'll maybe just have to put an annotation right at the beginning of the video. But of course, I would like to apologise that I don't have any actual gameplay videos because obviously I don't have a capture card. There is a way that you can do some kind of capture through the Xbox One, but I haven't really worked out if you can actually do that more than 30 seconds. I believe the standard clip is only 30 seconds, but yeah. So I apologise that I haven't actually got any of the gameplay from the game, and it might be slightly boring that you're just having a look at one screen the entire time, but unfortunately that was the only way that I could actually do it, because I'm not going to buy a capture card only for these videos, because obviously I'm not going to be doing a lot of videos on Xbox One on this channel, so there's not a lot of point in investing in a capture card only for a couple of games. Okay, so thank you for watching the video. Of course, if you have any specific questions about this game, you can leave a comment in the comment section below. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.